love the scope of trap beats, the Fixx is saying, ooh. DJ Focus, tell him turn you up, ooh. DJ Focus, tell him turn you up, ooh.
Welcome back. DJ Focus, Dice Gamble. You tap back into the Fixx, your source of faith-infused hip-hop, R&B, and poetry. It's time for our spiritual detox. And when I tell y'all, it's a project out right now called We Go On that speaks to everything that you need when you talk about the healing, when you talk about grief, when you talk about elements of mental health that we, these conversations we need to have, especially amongst our culture that we're not having. And I'm super excited because, listen, I have the two that put this unique project together on the line right now. Listen, first, a super talented, Atlanta-based pastor, entrepreneur, author. He does a little bit of everything. John O's joining us. And listen, Acktown, stand up. You already know. One of the best to do it in our space, period.
Right.
Yeah. Everybody, please know. One of the best to do it in our space, period. The one and only Swoope on the line right now, too, as well. What's going on, fellas?
Yeah, it's good to be here,
What's
man.
up, man? Yeah, honored, man.
Listen, I appreciate y'all taking some time out. I just want to know, why do we have to wait so long for this project? This thing is like, I'm already stamping this thing as the best thing of the year. This is the best project of the year. And we only in January, and I just feel like it's going to be hard for anybody to kind of like outdo this. So first, speak about this, y'all bringing and putting this project together. Like, walk us through the process of when y'all created this masterpiece.
Yeah. So it's there's been a couple of different iterations of it. So I released a book, We Go On. This is 2 years ago, January. And as I was getting ready to write the book and as I was about to put the book out into the world, I just sat back and it was like, people are probably not going to reread a book, but people will re-listen to music. And I love movie soundtracks. I think The Best Man soundtrack is one of the best movie soundtracks of all time, right? Mm-hmm. So I sat back and I'm like, I'd love to see a soundtrack for this book. And there was a very, very short list of folks that I thought could be a part of it. And I sat and I talked to a few folks and it's like, hey, do you think it's a good idea? And at the same time, Swoope, I think you just read the book.
Mm-hmm.
You had just read it.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And it resonated with him. And that really meant a lot to me, right? Because all the books that I've written, like my wife don't even read them until late, right? So Swoope read it, and at that point, it's like I knew that I just wanted honesty, and there was a particular way that I wanted it to look and feel. And when I tell you, Swoope just ran with it and continued to run with it, and so from that standpoint, at first, it was just supposed to be 3 songs, and then I kept changing it up and asking for more, and
So what was the first song that was done? I'm out of curiosity. I just want to know. What's the first one that got this started?
That's a tough question because some of these songs were written before. Work Real Hard is probably the earliest. Mm-hmm. I wrote that around Sunshine. That was supposed to be on Sunshine. So
okay.
Even to kind of, I hate the word piggyback, and I'm about to say it, but to piggyback off of John, and to answer your earlier question, it's kind of like, do you want the macaroni and cheese out of the blue box, which slap? Let's not get it twisted. That slap. Or do you want the one where your grandma that got the flab on her arm is going to put it in the oven and let it sit for a couple hours? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Mm-hmm. They're both going to taste good. One of them you're going to continue to revisit and warm up tomorrow with some yams and X, Y, Z. So it took a long time for the ingredients of the album to settle. So timeline is kind of weird because the Lord was orchestrating this before John wrote his book. John's book and John's ideation and John's spark was the beginning of what would become We Go On to our knowledge. But the earliest song, I think timeline specific would be Work Real Hard, but that was 2018, 2017, somewhere around there.
Right.
You said it like it was a throwaway or something. Like I feel like you was like, yeah, that one was just, maybe I use it one day, maybe I won't, because that thing is fire. So that's why I'm just tripping over here. So even talk about just that song right there for a second, Swoope. Work Real Hard. You got Jackie on it too as well. Talk about that collaboration and just the inspiration that you wanted to give in the message in the
Yeah.
song.
Yeah. So it was cool because this was actually supposed to be a compilation album. Like you heard John say, like I had a few artists in mind, X, Y, Z. Like we were at the Reach's studio, and on a whiteboard it was like, all right, Swoope, you're gonna produce and rap, here and there, but you're gonna produce everything, or most of it.
Yeah.
But we had hella names on there. Like everybody you could think of was on that board, and it just it started to get narrow and more narrow and narrow, and it was like, I think you should just do it.
Right.
So Work Real Hard was cool because, yeah, we're just gonna get transparent and early in the interview. You probably can't tell via my life or my social media life, my catalog, my even esteem and respect in the genre, which I really appreciate the things that you said. That I'm not a rich man. Like we live check to check. You know what I'm saying? We live by faith and not by the sight of zeros on a check. So I thought Work Real Hard, I talked to John about it, would be really cool. John gives this spiel where he says, like, man, you can have everything and I'm diluting it because John is a masterful storyteller. But for time, I'm diluting it and making it succinct. You can have everything and you can have nothing and still reach hopelessness. So I thought it would be cool to, not that I'm counting Jackie's pockets, but it looked like she's doing all right. It would be cool.
She blessed.
Right. To
Everybody
attack
see
this,
that.
to attack the same subject matter from different sides of the coin, like someone who seemingly has a lot and someone who knowingly has little, and still like, man, my efforts of work seem to be chasing the wind. So aside from Jackie just being a phenomenal rapper, I just thought her perspective on the song would have been really cool. So that's how that one came.
Yeah. So, one, I'm tripping as you talking about you ain't got your just dues, man, because I don't understand it. That's a whole nother conversation. But yeah, I ain't gonna get off track because yeah, you about to get me a little aggravated because I promise you, we champion for you over here. And Ben, since the zoo, let's be very clear, I've been a fan since the zoo. So yeah. For all y'all that listen, anybody listening, go back and listen to that Swoope and then catch up because he has not let off the gas since then. So I want to salute you, and we're gonna see about getting you some more, some change, some coins in your pockets.
Listen,
yeah.
And my 4 children appreciate that.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. I am a DJ, and I can help with that. So yeah, we'll talk.
There we go.
John, talk about the importance of you being able to bring this story of the whole grief experience and how everybody like deals with grief differently in this story, like bringing that thing to life. And why was that so important for you to even talk about it? Because I'll be honest with you, especially within our culture, a lot of within our culture are not even talking about grief on this level.
Right. So I April 14th, 2015, my brother died. And this was sudden, unexpected. And it was 6 weeks before we were getting ready to start a church here in the West End. And afterwards, it was like I was 30 years old, pastored for 8 years at the time, and was getting ready to start this church. And I didn't know what to do. So I just got back to work, and I thought, nah, you work and you just help everybody else try to get their life together. And if they feel good, then you'll feel good and things will move on. And that first year of the church, Swoope was a part of the church as well. Man, every like 3 weeks, that first year, somebody in our church lost a brother, a auntie, a mom, or something. And our church was just really, really young. And it was at that point I started to realize that, man, I don't know what to do. I don't know what to say. I can't help people. And I remember through that first year, it was like, I think the only thing that I did was I was consistently losing it in the pulpit and crying and not really knowing what to do. And as time went on, people that went through that grief was like, yo, thank you. And I'm like, thank me? Like, I didn't do nothing but just say how I felt. And you just see that so many people just need somebody to say what they feel, right? Like, C.S. Lewis is going to say it like this, like friendship is born when somebody says to somebody else, yo, you too? I thought I was the only one, right? And man, as time went on, the more and more that you learn about grief, the more that you find out is grief is not just tangible losses, right? Death of a loved one. Grief is ambiguous. It's the death of a dream, the death of a relationship, the loss of a marriage, the diagnosis of a parent with dementia, where they're still here, but you talk about them in the past tense, and these deaths with no funerals and funerals with no caskets. And when you start to put things that way, especially on this side of a pandemic, you start to find out, right? Like Swoope says at the beginning of the album, everybody's going through. And what we found was like, yo, sometimes people just need not just permission, but a script. And what I love about this whole thing is that you go through the whole thing and write line for line. Swoope just gives an amazing script for people to continually say, right? And that's the one thing that I've continued to hear. Yo, I felt the exact same way. I just never had the words, but these are the words. And there's something special or just about being able to give your grief, right, words. So
No, absolutely, and that's exactly what I got out of this. And I didn't understand really how to process my grief, to be honest with you,
right.
until I lost my parents. I literally lost both of my parents within a 3-year span, and it tore me up. I'll be honest with you. I was in these places where I had never been in these dark places. Like I'm like, what's going on? I'm sitting here. I'm just riding down the street, and all of a sudden I just start crying.
Yeah.
And it's like, wow, I didn't know how to process it. And I had to seek out some help. I'll be honest with you. Shouts out to my pastor. My pastor, we have a course at our church, which is called Grief Recovery, which it is a program that you can go through and get some practical tips that help me. So that right there in itself helped me like get up out of that sinking place. But this project, though, this is it. Let's get back to some more of these songs, Swoope. Man, what this thing you got with Scooty Wop, man. So first of all, listen. When I heard it, I say, what sample is that? So I know that's a little sample, but I couldn't figure out what sample it was. So yeah, this song Life of Your Dream. Life of Your Dreams with Scooty Wop. Talk us through that,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah, this one is fun. I can't even tell you I can tell you what the sample says. I don't remember who it is, because I got it from a digital crate. You know what I'm saying? It's just samples everywhere and on this specific platform. I made that beat a while ago. Like I just be sitting on stuff, bro. You know, because it is
Must be nice to sit on
Andre.
money like that. Just sit on money. You just sit on money. Huh? This stuff you got,
Well,
man. This ain't just regular, just regular stuff, man. You just sitting on over there, man.
speaking of like giving things language, right? So Three Stacks just put the Flute album out, and then he went on the media tour, and he did a few interviews. I took one sentence out of all of those interviews, and he said, "Talent is one thing, timing and momentum is another."
That's
So
true.
it wasn't time. You
I
know,
got you.
let's say I let that fly when I made it 4 or 5 years ago, it wouldn't have been this. You know what I'm saying? So it just wasn't time.
All right.
Yeah.
Life of Your Dreams was fun. I wrote that verse to another beat called the song was called Highlights at the time. Like when I was sending John demos and stuff. And that hook is crazy. That hook is going to come out somewhere. But the story of Life of Your Dreams is really fun because this is the song that pushed the album back. This album was supposed to come out on December 1st.
Right.
And I'm 37, love the Lord with all of my heart, and have grown into certain freedoms and liberties at 37 that, 20, 22-year-old Swoope would have been like, oh, you going to hell. And one of them is the way that I use my language. So there was an explicative that was originally on the song, and Scooty heard it. I had sent it to him crazy late. He heard it 4 days before the album was supposed to release. And just I told him I respect him now more as a man even than I do as an artist. And Scooty is
A
next,
beast.
like he's the
Yeah.
guy. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
But he texted me, he was just like, yo, I can't condone this on my platform. I understand it. And I'm not even saying that I disagree with you, but with my name on the song, like I can't clear the hook unless you take that out. And me at 37, I'm like, no, you know. So, you know, I went and got some other hooks. One of them was Crazy Fire, and I'm gonna use that somewhere else.
Fire.
But this was the one. So I'm just kind of like, this album's been cooking for 2 years. Let's get it out. You know what I'm saying? And John was just like, no, I'm going to move heaven and earth to make sure we get Scooty on this album. So the time between December 1st and January 12th was really John making sure that Scooty could be on the song, and everybody,
Yeah.
because that's really the first song on the album.
Right.
John's monologue and my everybody's going through, it's like the credits rolling at the beginning, like the you know, like Universal Studios, you know, Paramount Pictures, and then we go on present, you know, all that sort of stuff. But the first scene of the album is the joint with Scooty Wop. And when I tell you he blew that thing out of the water, and I don't think some of the other ones would have been as inviting into the whole movie that the album is without him. So I'm like, I'm glad we went through that because it was necessary. You know what I'm saying? And the hook is crazy. Like, I had people calling me, telling me, asking me how I got Ty Dolla $ign on the album. I'm like, read the credits. That is not Ty Dolla $ign. That's Scooty Wop.
Right.
Yeah, that thing fire. It's definitely radio ready. So I already got some other DJs in other spaces that's like, yeah, send me that. I need that.
Yeah.
So come on, John, talk about you know, you come up with this whole idea to go on tour and present this. Talk, you know, catch the people up on, you know, just the tour and everything that you're doing with that.
Yeah. So with all of it, I think in the past few years, one of the things that I learned about me is that I don't do a whole lot of things well. I really only do 2 things well. And so I just want to do those 2 things in a bunch of different spaces. And so I've learned it's like, hey, I think I can put together a team of geniuses, and I think I can hustle the resources for us to be able to try things and to see what sticks. So, you know, after the book came out and we had this song or some songs that Swoope had made, our dude Rich Perez came through and he created a mini doc for it. And so we're trying to create this whole world. And my publishers at the time, I think they signed Reba McEntire to a book deal. So once they did, all the marketing dollars and stuff went that way. And so we just sat back and said, all right, what is a way that we can bring all of this to life? And it was, again, like it's not just me. With all the stuff that we do, it's a we thing. So I sat down and I talked with Swoope and I talked with Rich, and we created this like evening. We said, man, what would it look like to create an immersive experience in grief and hope that changes how people process their grief? And we just sat down and talked through things. And it's like, all right, smell is the one sense most associated with memory. So let's have coffee, brewing, and all of these first ones. Let's start off with a monologue on coffee and grief. So if nothing else, anytime anybody thinks of coffee, they think of bittersweetness of grief. And Swoope rapped, we played clips from the doc, we had a panel, all of the stuff, all of the talking pieces throughout the course of the album were from the show that we did in Houston, my hometown, 2022. And so it was just this space where we wanted folks to come into a place and to leave with tear-stained cheeks and smiles saying, I've never experienced anything like that.
Were you able to, open up for future conversations for people to like have resources or like where is this thing going like
Okay.
long term wise? Because I feel like this ain't it.
Right. No. So year one, it was let's just try it and see if it works.
Okay.
And our first show in Atlanta, Swoope, how would you grade the first show we did in Atlanta?
-0.
Oh my goodness. That joint was an F-, bro.
Yes.
It
Really?
was,
Yes.
yeah, like
It was bad.
things didn't come together. We had a rollout TV screen, and at the end, I'm like, I can't believe we got to do 5 more dates of this. And then we go to DC that week, and it was night and day. And at the end of the day, people was like, yo, are you gonna stay tomorrow? Can y'all do this again? And after that show, everybody that was on the first joint, right? Preston and Swoope and Rich, everybody was just like, yo, listen, we're here for the long haul. And yeah, it was special. So we did that last year, and then or we did that 2022 in 5 cities, and then this year we're like, hey, let's try to do it in 13 cities. And we did it, and people had those same thoughts. What's next? What are we trying to do? And from our standpoint, these past 2 years have just been, there's a big enough roadblock in just getting people to be unintimidated by grief. So let's work on try to make sure we take that roadblock out of the way. And now in 2024 and beyond, we hope to pave the road forward and to build the whole world.
That's good. Swoope, man, last one. Want you to break down some of the message behind this Chasing Ghost song with Lecrae. That's my second favorite song on the playlist already. Actually, third.
What was first? I missed what was first.
The Scooty Wop song.
Oh,
That's
okay,
one.
got you.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. And then the Mom song. So yeah, of course, with whatchamacallit on it. Yeah, that it just,
Taylor,
again,
yeah.
I lost my loved one. So man,
Yeah.
that one right there, man, you had me sitting in my car, man, for about an hour, bro. And I did afterwards. Seriously, I was in tears, but then at the end of it, I was just thanking God, and I went into a worship. So
Yes,
listen,
yes.
it's working, brother. It's working.
I love it. Yeah, Chasing Ghosts was fun because, me and Craig bounce ideas all the time. We're on tour, so I rode home with him yesterday, and he played me some of his album. And earlier you said, I don't know how anybody's going to beat this. It's gonna be a conversation in December. He's sitting on some heat rocks.
Okay.
But I don't ask him for features. I don't do that. Like, if you notice, Craig has never been on any of my albums because our relationship is more important, and everybody's always asking him for something. But it was like, nah, come on, man, just run me that verse real quick. Pinned it, and he was in his Talib bag, which is different for him. So he wasn't saucing, he wasn't X, Y, and Z. Which the more and more I've listened to it, I actually appreciated that he purposefully walked away from his strengths to make sure that he communicated the heart of what we were talking about. Like, he could have just sauced us and been like, no, I'm gonna give you like heat, like cadence wise and X, Y, and Z, but I'm not gonna touch the content. He was intentional about writing it, and I could tell that. All throughout John's book, and the book is heavily founded in Ecclesiastes, and in Ecclesiastes, a lot of the pursuits of pleasure, of even folly, of wisdom, of, all those sort of things, is couched in the analogy of chasing the wind, which you cannot catch. But I had already said that on a couple of songs, so I was trying to figure out a different way to say it, and Chasing Ghosts came up. I had that first 4 or 6 bars before, the last 4 or 6 bars. I attached the first ones to say Chasing Ghosts on it. So it just, like every other song on the album, it evolved, bro. It wasn't like, yo, I got this beat, I'm gonna call Lecrae and we're gonna write this song today. It was like, I got a few bars over here, I made this. Like, if you go down my Instagram feed, you can see me working on that beat in 2020. Like, these songs just kind of slow roll, you know what I'm saying? 2021, I'll take that back. So I can't even say that there was a lightning in the bottle moment for that song. A few of them have that. It was just like, again, timing. Make it and keep the parts that you like. This say reconnecting. I don't know if that's me. I'm back. Am I there? Am I there? I'm not there.
We
You,
lost you a little bit.
I'm
Okay,
not
you
there.
back?
I'm
you
there.
back now. You back
Yeah,
now.
I saw.
You back now.
Cool. That means it's a delay. So I'll just keep going and say, it wasn't lightning in a bottle. This song evolved over time, and Lecrae was gracious in giving us what he gave us for sure.
Listen, I appreciate y'all, man, coming through, man. Can y'all tell the people how they can connect with y'all, follow y'all on your social media platforms, where they can go stream this music, buy the book, and everything they need to know about We Go On.
Yeah.
All my socials
Swoop.
are at Mr. Swoope, and We Go On is available on every DSP. Please go check it out and share it. This is not a project that I can walk away and say, look what I did. So, yeah.
Website for the book or any of the resources that you might have for it?
Amazon, Barnes and Nobles, best place to get the book.
Should I just hang up?
JohnO.blog is the best way to connect with me. I'm on IG and all that stuff, but I'm more active
Well,
on a
John was
newsletter,
gone
small
doing
little
some of his
corner
spiels
of the
too. So
web that I've curated. To work and to talk through all this
Yep.
stuff.
I'm just
But
gonna hang up.
yeah, Swoop
Leave studio.
Swoop was gracious, and I think one thing that I do want to clarify, and we heard it right time and time again, like I just came with the seed of an idea, and when I say this brother is a genius, he put that joint together. So my role was basically begging him to, hey, all right, I know you want Hold On, I know you had that, you were gonna save that in the tank, but I think that goes on here. So yeah, it was incredible getting a chance to work with him, and he's been so gracious in allowing this to be a joint thing. But I just really want to make no mistake, like this was his. I just garnished a little bit here and there.
No, you did more than that because
Right.
again, I think this is something that needs to be talked about. So listen, you got our support. You and Swoope got our support over here. We're
Absolutely.
gonna continue to push this project and allow for people to know it's okay to grieve. It's okay to deal with grief, but deal with it in a healthy way. And I think that's something that y'all brought in this project. Deal with
Absolutely.
it healthy because we know we have
Yeah.
so many people that don't deal with these issues in the right way. So,
Absolutely.
yeah, that was cool. Listen,
Yeah.
DJ Focus, we got to go to a break. We'll be right back with more. Keep it locked. You tune into The Fixx. You know The Fixx is in.